Hey y'all, welcome back. Today I want to talk about plastic. Now, before I start, I want to say that I'm not like totally against plastic. It does have a lot of uses. A lot of people do need it. I want to just bring a bit of a light to the life cycle of plastic because people often talk about the end of the life of plastic, that it ends up in landfill or incinerators, and that is important, but it is just one part. So I want to get into the entire life cycle and talk about how it affects people, not just the earth, but also people, specifically low-income people of color. So plastic starts out as a fossil fuel a few miles below the Earth's surface, and in order to get it out, the fossil fuel industry drills a hole, injects that hole with a mixture of water and chemicals in order to force the oil out, and this is also known as fracking. And this process alone can create a lot of water contamination. So next, there is a pipeline that carries the oil from the fracking site to the refinery. You may have heard of the Dakota Access Pipeline, or DAPL. And obviously the land must be destroyed in order to get the pipeline into the ground. And over time, these pipelines can leak, they can rupture in some cases, and ruptures can cause fires that have destroyed homes in nearby communities. So this oil and gas are chemically bonded to create plastic pellets, which are then heated up, melted, and put into molds to create the products that you see on shelves. Combining these raw materials into plastic, heating it up, this releases a lot of toxic chemicals into the air, which pollutes the surrounding communities, which are often, like I said earlier, low-income folks of color. This pollution can cause respiratory issues like asthma, can cause cardiovascular issues, and it has even caused cancer in a lot of communities. A big example that's been in the news lately is Formosa Plastics, and they are constructing a new facility in Louisiana's St. James Parish, where 87% of the residents are Black. Not only is the construction of this new facility going to be putting the health of the residents at risk, but it's also going to be desecrating a burial site of enslaved African Americans. Unfortunately, a lot of times in these communities, the families and individuals who live there are not allowed to voice their opinions or concerns in the construction of facilities, and when they try to act in opposition, they are sometimes threatened. And this is not uncommon. Another thing to note is that the health risks that are associated with living near these facilities is a big contributing factor to why Black Americans get COVID at about 3 times the rate of white Americans, and their death rate from the virus is about twice as high as white Americans. So when looking at the next stage of the plastic life cycle, the buying and consuming of it, we need to look at the whole picture. So the fossil fuel industry sells the raw materials to the companies that make the products, who then put it on the shelves for the consumers. So when we buy plastic products, we are indirectly supporting the extraction of fossil fuels and pollution that is harming the BIPOC communities to make more of that product. We've begun to learn that simply by using plastic products, we can sometimes get chemicals and definitely microplastics into our bodies. And because of cheaply made plastic products, government bailouts, and other factors, these plastic products are ironically being bought by the low-income communities that they are directly harming. So let's look at the disposal now of these products. After you use your single-use item, which I believe the average use of a single-use plastic product is 12 minutes. So after those 12 minutes, you will throw your product away, and it will hopefully end up in landfill, or it might end up in an incinerator. Now, most of our trash heads to the landfill, where it will sit for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and slowly release methane gas into the air. And again, these landfills are often located next to low-income communities of color because that's where we've deemed it okay to put these landfills. Even worse are incinerators, which of the 73 incinerators located in the United States, 79% are located in BIPOC communities. Burning plastic releases things like lead and mercury into the air, which once again can lead to things like asthma, cardiovascular disease, and death. So obviously plastic is very harmful to these communities of color. throughout their entire lifespan, start to finish, every step of the way. So if you are able to afford reusables, I made a whole video about my favorite reusables. I'll link that. Please do. And please understand that the extra upfront cost is going towards prioritizing the health of low-income communities of color. And I understand that not everyone can afford to do this, but if you can, please do it for those who are not. And then I feel like this is my catchphrase. I've said it before, I'll for sure say it again, but please vote. Please vote. We have an election coming up, but in general, please continue to vote for people who will create action to prevent climate change. And obviously that doesn't just mean saving the earth, it means saving a lot of people. I do believe we can vote with our dollar and obviously create demand for the items where the supply isn't quite so harmful, but I also know that the biggest change is going to come from the people in power. I think about plastic in a very different way now. It used to just be, well, it's gonna go in the trash and I don't wanna make more trash. Like, it's not about my trash. I've never really loved the idea of keeping all your trash in a mason jar because I feel like that just focuses on the literal trash. And there is so much behind the scenes of everything we consume and use that you can't even begin to understand if you are only thinking about the literal physical waste you produce. Yes, I am doing my best to not produce a lot of waste, but I'm also doing what I can to learn about everything that comes before a product even comes into my hands. And I think that's important. This wasn't a super fun video. I promise I'll make some fun ones. I think my new plan is to do these sort of intersectional environmentalism videos on Mondays to start off our weeks, and then do some other like sustainable swaps, or maybe like, these are my favorite plant-based meals that you can try if you want to do a meatless Monday, or whatever, how to be more sustainable, those kinds of videos later in the week. I think that's the move. All right, I've been talking for way too long. This is my second time trying to record this. I'm gonna call it a day. Thanks y'all for watching. I hope you learned something. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out, and hit subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet. Otherwise, I will see y'all next time. Bye. The plastic lifestyle. Why am I saying that? Oh my God, I have a bump. Please still be recording. Thank you.